There we go. We got the important part. Okay, and then the last thing, so edifying. We talk about edifying all the time, but I think that sometimes, there's a little bit of a misstep in this step of the process. So I think the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this is don't overthink it. I think a lot of times, we get so excited because somebody wants to chat with one of our leaders, and then the line goes dead because, you're not available for 2 to 3 business days, or the person's not available for 2 to 3 business days. And in your mind, it's this whole big phone call or this whole big video thing. And like it has to be this big event. It does not have to be this big event. We don't have to overthink this. So when you're in a conversation with someone and you're at the point where you want to bring somebody in, try to bring them in right away. It does not have to be on the phone. It can literally be bringing them into the chat that you're having on Instagram. Lots of people are available. I would say the first person to go to would be, your direct leader. From there, I'm available. I work from home. I'm self-employed. If you message me and you say, hey, Britt, can you hop in this chat with someone in 5 minutes? The answer is probably going to be yes. Chelsea is available. Cassidy also works this business full time. And so she's likely going to be available. I just don't want you guys overthinking this process, because what ends up happening is it takes days and days and days. And then by the time we've got on a phone, that person is so over it and, they're gone. So don't overthink that one. And if you guys ever have questions about edifying, or when should I really bring you in, you're probably not bringing us in soon enough. So when in doubt, just talk to us, say, hey, this is what's going on. I need help. And then we can kind of go from there. Does anybody have any questions about any of that before I dive into the social media stuff? Oh, that's okay. Perfect. Okay, so social media. If you're on my team directly, we have been talking about this training or this call for quite a while. I know that there are a lot of social media trainings out there. I know there's a lot of information about social media when it comes to network marketing, but I think that we can all agree that social media is the hardest part of this business. I think in some way or another, everyone kind of, struggles with the social media piece. But I want you guys to remember, so I don't have a lot of experience in network marketing, but like 13, 14 years ago, I was with Arbonne for a very short amount of time. And we did not have this. Okay. We were calling people on the actual telephone, like literally, like, hey, literally calling real life people. Scary, right? And we were doing parties, like literal parties, like going to people's houses and soaking their feet in salt baths to try to get them to buy these products and to try to get them to sign up for this business. And you want to talk about awkward and uncomfortable. I can tell you that that is really, really awkward and uncomfortable. So really and truly, like, we are so lucky to be able to build our business in the peak of social media. We have all of our people right in front of us. Like, all of the people that are important to you are probably on one of your social media pages. And not only that, we have access to people that we, really don't even know. So it's a huge, huge, huge opportunity. So I don't want you guys to sleep on how powerful our social media pages are. But, before we get to that, we have to be comfortable enough to post on these pages. And I think that that is where a lot of us are kind of, I don't want to say missing the mark, because I think trying is trying, but I think that because we're so uncomfortable with the types of things that we, maybe want to talk about, that we just gravitate towards what's easy. And then, of course, we're missing people. So the basics. When you join this business, okay, no matter if you have 30,000 followers or 113 followers, those are your people that you are going to be working with, okay? But when they come to your Instagram page, they need to be able to see what you're about and what's going on. So, what does your bio say? You know, how many people in this call, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to, but how many people in this call don't even have anything in their bio, you know, or have like one link? Our bio is that first sentence of our cover letter, or, you know, the first sentence on our resume. You know, it's going to let people know what you're about. It doesn't have to be anything groundbreaking, but you need to have something in there. You know, who are you? You know, what's the W5 of you? Put that in there. And like Chelsea said, she just wrote it in the notes, and it's the next thing I'm going to say. Please do not just put Q Sciences ambassador in your bio and call it good, because people are going to come to that and they're going to be like, I am not being sold to. I am out of here. And they're gone. Okay. So, who are you as a person aside from Q Sciences? And put that in your bio. I write bios for my clients all the time. I am happy to help you. If you need, in fact, me and Britt, we just did this. We just rewrote her bio and we hopped on a call and we talked it out, you know, and I mean, I think she has a pretty good bio now. So let us, you know, let us help you out with that. I know talking about yourself, like one of the things that I hate the most is when someone says, tell me about you. I'm like, ugh, I hate answering that because it's awkward and uncomfortable. You have to talk about yourself in your Instagram bio, okay? In addition to the bio links, you need to have a link to something on your page. Okay. We all have a storefront. We all have our Q Sciences storefront. So if nothing else, have that linked. What I do recommend though is, you know, use something like Campsite or Linktree. Basically, what these are, they are just, it's a free landing page essentially where you can add a bunch of different links to it. So if you were to go to my link, you know, I think I have like a link to the compensation plan video. I have a link to contact me. I have another business, so I have a link to my website, and you know everything else. So there's probably 6 or 7 links in there. Not everybody is going to have that many links, but when someone goes to those links, I think it's important that they can at least get a little bit of information without talking to you. Because I know for me, I want to do my research before I reach out to someone and I want to, you know, kind of have the lowdown. So definitely get one of those going and just make sure that you are paying attention to what's in there as well. So if there is something new going on in your life or you launch even a new business outside of Q Sciences, your link tree doesn't have to be just specific to Q Sciences because your Instagram page is not going to be specific to Q Sciences. Your Instagram page is about you. So what else can you share in your bio that is about you? Okay. And then highlight bubbles. Those are so powerful, and so many people are not utilizing these. This is a place for you to have 4 to 5 areas where you can have people click and they can learn more. I know for me, I put a lot of effort into my Instagram stories, and they expire after 24 hours and then they're gone forever, you know? So this is a good place that you can put those stories. So, you know, save some things, but please just don't save everything. You know, don't just make like a Q Sciences bubble and save every story you've ever made because that's overwhelming. Be really strategic with these. Think of this as the first place that someone's going to go when they come onto your profile, and you know, really lay them out in a way that you can explain what it is that you do and why they want to stick around. Okay. And I know that this is super, super basic stuff, but I think that knowing the basics is the starting point for sure. Posting. So, what posts go where? Why do we have reels and stories and static posts and carousels and all of these things? And it is because different people treat different people treat social media in different ways. There are a whole bunch of different types of users when it comes to social media, okay? And so one user is going to just scroll through your stories. Another user is probably just going to scroll through reels. And then another user may just scroll through the feed, okay? We need to make sure that we are catering to all of those users. And that does not mean posting the same thing in all three places, because those users are different and they're looking for different things. So what do we post in our stories? Day to day, behind the scenes. This is like your non-curated, quick and dirty, maybe, you know, a little bit more vulnerable, but still valuable content. Okay. This is probably where you're going to be doing the majority of your selling. Okay. And then your feed. So you're going to look at your feed as essentially your storefront. Okay. This is going to be your first impression. Okay. The last few posts on your feed are going to tell somebody that is new to your feed what type of value they're going to be provided with by following you. Okay. If there is no value in those posts, they're likely going to be gone. And so we want to make sure, you know, we are providing value there. So what types of posts? You know, it could even just be a super relatable reel. You could, you know, share something about self-care or something like that. This is going to be really tangible content that people are going to want to save. They're going to want to send it to their friends. They're going to want to screenshot it, all of those things. Okay. This is where we're going to be providing a ton of value to our people. All right. Okay. So does anybody have questions about that? I just don't want to get to the end and then everyone has kind of forgotten about the beginning stuff. Any questions? Chelsea, you're doing such a great job letting people in. That always overwhelms me so much when people are popping in. Okay, so we've talked about where we're posting. We've talked about all of that. So now what are we posting? This is a big one, like a seriously big one. And a lot of you are not going to want to hear this. And if you have been on a call with me already, you're going to know that social media is so much more than sharing a generic graphic and expecting people to buy from you. Okay. The truth is, people are so sick of being sold to on social media. Everywhere you turn, somebody is selling something. And so, how you share this opportunity and how you share the products is so important. Okay. And you also have to remember that when you are sharing these posts, you're connecting with someone too. It's not just like a blanket, I'm putting this up and they're going to buy it because I posted this. You need to connect with these people. So something that you post today, even though it's about the business opportunity, is not going to resonate with the same people that you post the same thing tomorrow, because you're going to word it differently. It's going to sit a little bit different for different people. And that's why you'll find, you know, you could be posting about the opportunity until you're blue in the face. And then all of a sudden, Jenny from down the block is going to be like, you got me. Tell me about it. You know, it's because you have triggered something within her to make her want to contact you. Okay. So remember, you're connecting with these people. If all you are doing is sharing a graphic and expecting people to buy, you're going to fall flat. You have to stand apart from all the other people that are just trying to sell. Okay. I want you to think of your Instagram like someone is cruising through People magazine. They're there for the juice. If you were just posting generic graphics about greens, you are an ad and they're not even going to read it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen quickly here because I just want to give you guys some examples. So give me 2 seconds here. That was wrong. Can you, hang on, I think I can do it, Chell.
Do I need to give you permission?
Yeah, can I have it back?
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up on the screen some different post examples, and I want you to kind of take a look at these posts and really, and some of you may, some of you may make your debut. I kept your name on it so that you can have credit for your post. But I just want you to kind of look at these posts and really ask yourself, what are you going to feel more connected to? So right now we have our promotion going on. Okay. It is amazing. It's a great promotion. And this graphic I have seen on social media like 5 bazillion times. And I've also seen, posts like this. So I want you to look at this and say, okay, what am I more likely to, resonate with? Which graphic is going to make me go, yeah, okay, this feels really good. I'm going to say it's probably going to be the second one. And you can agree. I mean, you can disagree too. This here is actually a internal graphic. And so this one here actually has incentives for ambassadors. So this is like a huge no-no. I would never, want to post something like that on social media. But even if it didn't say that, this here, this is Rachel. I don't know, Rachel, maybe Rachel's in this call. But this is like a little bit more emotional. This shows her personality, and this, she's still selling the same thing, but it's just a little bit more her. Okay, here's another example. So QCore, we love QCore. It, is an amazing product, and a lot of us are using it, and we want our people to buy it. And so we could throw up this QCore PDF and cross our fingers and hope that somebody is going to buy it, or we could post something like this. It is super, super simple still. It would have taken Laura 1.5 seconds to snap this post, but it's a little bit more relatable. She's in Vegas, she's on vacation, and she's still taking her supplements. And then this one here. So product, obviously we have promo, product, and then this one is compensation plan. So this is something that we see a lot too, posting the compensation plan. And we know this compensation plan is gold. Like, we know how powerful this compensation plan is. But to the outside world, they're looking at that like, I don't even know what that even is. So posting something like that, they're not going to resonate with that, and they're not going to, understand. So taking the information that is in the compensation plan, and kind of wording it in more of an emotional way, just like Jamie Eldridge did in this post example, that's going to resonate with people a little bit better. Oh, I thought I had one more, but I don't. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing that. Okay.
One comment, Britt, just about that
Mhm.
last graphic, was the one on the right. Is it too many words? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess sometimes we do expect that people are going to understand that, you hold to read. If you think that maybe your viewers are not going to understand that, you can literally write in the post, hold to read. Okay. I mean, you for sure can break it up into different slides as well. It's just sometimes, it's more about just getting the message across, and, not so much about the aesthetics, because she was still able to show the emotion, even though it was in a couple different sentences. But yeah, you can break it up for sure. I think the biggest thing, and we're going to get into that, is, be you. So whatever that kind of looks like for you. So with that, I wanted to talk about, showing up authentically on social media, and, being you and using your voice and your words, and really focusing on your why. We know that this is a business of duplication, 100%. And there's a lot of us, on social media. And I think when you come into this business, you're following new ambassadors and all of that. And that is great. I really, really recommend that you do that. But I want you to be careful with using other people's content, because you need to make sure that you are being authentic to you. Something that we talk about in our launch call is the inviting process. And within that inviting process, I always say, when you are getting the scripts that we send you, please don't just copy and paste it and put in a little blurb about them and send it off to them, because that person is going to get this message from you, their best friend or their sister or their cousin, or, you know, whatever your relationship is. They're going to read this message and they're going to be like, what even is this? Like, that is so gross. It doesn't even sound like her. So she's either being hacked or she's joined a cult. And they're going to be like, that's not even you. Like, what even is that? You know? So you want to make sure when you are, you know, posting on social media that you are kind of following that same principle. So when you're posting content, you really, really want to make sure that it is something that would come out of your mouth. Okay. So keep in mind that the way I speak, for example, is different than the way Chelsea speaks. And the way Chelsea speaks is going to be different than the way, you know, Meg Jackson speaks, and on and on and on. And so if I posted something and then Chelsea posted the exact same thing, and then Meg posted the same thing, you know, and then my mom swoops in and posts the same thing, we're all writing the same thing. And people are going to be like, who even is this? You know? So really, really make sure that your content is still you and you're using the same lingo that you would use, or the same like attitude that you would use. All of those things. It is so, so, so important. And so with that comes, you know, I really would not recommend you seeing a post that you're like, oh, yeah, that sounds so good, screenshotting it, copying and pasting it, throwing your photo on it, and calling it good, because that is not you. It may be your message, and that is amazing, but it's really, really important that you are taking those words and then rewriting them so it sounds like something that you would say, posting it to your people. Okay. That we see a lot is screenshotting. So someone posts something and it's amazing, and then you screenshot it, you cut the name out, and you post it to your stories. People are going to see through that. I think that we need to remember that social media is a lot smaller of a place than we think it is. And so if you are posting something that someone posted a couple of days ago and now they're seeing it for the second time, it's not going to resonate with your people. And so you're going to lose them. And it's just almost this like washed out message. And so take inspiration, you know, but make it your own. And you're going to notice just with that, that posting on social media all of a sudden becomes so much easier, because you're not so focused on, well, she said that and it sounded really good and I want it to sound just like that. You're going to learn how to use your own voice to get those same messages across. There is, however, a really cool function on Instagram, which actually I just learned about in the last couple of months. And I was embarrassed because I work on social media. I'm a social media manager and I didn't know this. But you can actually message the person and say, hey, can you mention me in this? So let's say they've written a message that you're like, yeah, that is so good. Hey, can you mention me in this? They can essentially tag you even after they've posted it, and then you can reshare that to your stories. So it's coming across on your page as, you know, a message that you want to share with your people, but it's not your voice, but people know that it's not your voice, and it's going to sit a little bit different. Did everybody know about this feature and I was the only one that didn't, or did I just like blow anyone's minds? You're all laughing at me.
And I love teaching Brittany about social media. It provides me a special type of joy.
All right. So with that, a quote I heard, I don't know where I heard it, but I certainly didn't make it up, is when you're thinking about social media, and especially, you know, in a small area. I live in a small town. A lot of my team is from either the same small town or a few towns over. Really and truly, like, we're a big Southwestern Ontario team. Okay. People are going to be following multiple of us. And so you really, really want to be like the person in the red dress in the group of people in white dresses. Like, you really want to make sure that you are standing out. And that's not a matter of like one upping the next person or anything like that. It's just making sure that your content is just a little bit different. Does that make sense? Okay. A lot. I mean, I'm looking at a lot of black squares here. So I'm just thinking that you're nodding your head. Okay, we're almost there. I know this is a lot. Posting on social media when you are a part of a business can feel, difficult because you have to post, you have to sell essentially, and, especially if you were not big into social media prior to coming to this business, it is very easy to make Q Sciences your entire social media personality. Okay. And I get it. I completely understand. But you want to make sure that between the posts where you are talking about different parts of Q Sciences, that you are still giving value. I think that this is so, so, so important because, like I said at the beginning of this, people are really, really sick of being sold to. And so, to get somebody to want to continue to engage with your page, or to get somebody, to a new follower to jump onto your page, there needs to be something more. Okay. I'm not saying you have to come up with this whole new big thing, but really think about, what makes you you, and make sure that you're continuing to talk about that. So my Instagram page personally started when I was pregnant with my daughter. And then a lot of people followed me when I was pregnant with the twins, because I think they were literally like, this girl's gonna get eaten alive by having 3 babies. Like, I think for a lot of people, like, they were like, how is she gonna do this? She has a baby, she's pregnant with 2 more babies. Like, I'm coming to watch. Okay. So motherhood and like messy motherhood was a really, really, really big part of my social media. My kids are now in school. I work from home. My life has evolved tremendously since those hot mess mom days, honestly. But I know that the people who have been here from the beginning, they came for that. And so now that I'm doing this business, I talk about this business on social media every day and a lot, but I know that I still need to provide some type of value in and among all of those posts, or those people are going to be gone. Um, you really have to remember that it takes people 7 to 77 plus times of seeing the same thing before they become interested. So for those people that it's going to take a little bit more, you really need to make sure that you're still catering to them while they're riding out the wave. So I really want you to, dive in and think, what's going on in your life? Like, is it fitness? Is it, being a student? Maybe you're planning your wedding. Meg Jackson is pregnant. Like, like there's like a lot of different things that go on in your life, and people want to know that. People are so nosy. They really truly want to know what else is going on. So, give it to them. I'm trying to think of other examples, honestly, but I think that this is definitely one of the things that a lot of people overthink, because they come into social media and they're like, okay, I just got to get these posts out. I'm going to post here and I'm going to post here, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here because this makes me feel funny. But once you start posting about things that are very easy for you to talk about, those other posts are so easy. And you just throw them in and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I did it. And then you rinse and repeat the next day. Okay. And then with that consistency, this is another really, really big thing. And I mean, I'm not coming here to say you have to post 15 times a day on social media and you never get a day off or anything like that. I'm just saying that consistency is what's consistent for you. Okay. A best practice 100% is posting every single day about the business, posting every single day about the products, and then supplementing that with some day-to-day stuff. Could even just be like a cute pic of your kid or your baby, or whatever it is. I would say, if you really, really want to move your social media, never let your stories expire. So you never want somebody to come onto your social media and there's nothing there for them to look at. Because again, when we talked about the different types of users, there are going to be some people that come and they're going to see your story bubble is expired, and they're going to, even though there's highlights and everything else, that is not their behavior. And so they're going to leave. So you have 24 hours for your stories. And so even if it's just a couple of things, it just shows people that you are still there. It's just maybe Sunday, or maybe your kid's sick, or, you know, whatever else. So just kind of keep that in mind. Oh, you guys are talking a whole lot in the comments. I'll get to those after. I think that that was everything that I had kind of written down, but I want to give you guys a chance to answer questions because I know that that was just like a lot of information. Does
I just
anybody
want
have?
to piggyback on something, Britt.
Yes, please.
When we were chatting about like building your social media, and with that, you're going to be building relationships with people that you may or may not know in real life. That's kind of like the cool thing about social media, is that you get to meet all these people all over the world that you wouldn't have met otherwise. But one thing, like we love building a relationship with people and getting to know them and interacting with their stuff before just like sending them a message about Q. But one thing that you want to do is you want to do your research. I have had 3 separate messages this week of people asking me if I wanted to join Q, which tells me that they haven't even looked at my stories. They haven't even gone to anything on my Instagram to see that I'm quite literally pouring Q greens every single morning, right? So just, you don't, and that's what makes things look like, that's a cold message, right? That's what makes this industry seem icky sometimes, right? When you're just cold messaging all of these people without building a relationship and knowing anything about them. So make sure that before you kind of reach out to somebody, even if you've chatted back and forth, like look at their stuff, figure out what's going on in their life, where are you going to relate to them, and look to see if they're already in queue, right? Because we don't want to be just doing these random cold messages. So that's just one thing that I just wanted to add in, to make sure that you're doing your research before sending those messages.
Exactly. And that's why even like you having your bio and all of that up to date, it's the same thing so that people kind of know what you're about. And then they can decide if they, you know, want to move forward with, you know, following you, making it official, whatever. One of the questions that popped up was about the question and answer boxes in the Instagram stories. And I find the Q&A boxes to be so valuable because sometimes you just really want to say something. Like sometimes you just really want to say something to do with the business, but there's no prompt. And so the Q&A is a really good way to prompt yourself to answer the question. Okay, so you can post a Q&A box on your Instagram stories, and then you can just ask yourself all the questions. And so this is something that a lot of my team does when they first enroll, because it's a really good way to get a lot of the really important bits out right away. So, you know, hey guys, you know, ask me all of these questions. Nobody asks a question, but I'm sitting there and I'm asking all the questions so that you can answer them. And then you have this amazing content that you can then add into your highlight bubble. And it's like boom, bang, done. Okay. So when you're doing the Q&As, I know sometimes like it sucks because you're like, no one has a question, like not one question. They probably do have questions, but if people are not at the point where they're ready to have a conversation with you about this, they're not going to ask the question because, I mean, and I think that goes back to the whole network marketing stigma. It's like, oh my gosh, if I ask her a question, I'm never going to get rid of her. You know, she's going to be harassing me until I sign up. Obviously, that's not what we're about. But again, it's just the user behavior. And so you're just going to answer the question before they have to ask it. And then you're going to get them interested that way. And then the same thing goes with polls. I would just, if you post a poll and you feel like no one is interacting with it, it's all good. Fake it till you make it, baby. Message your friend and be like, hey, can you hit that yes on that poll? So when someone else hits that, it's going to say yes, 100%. And you're going to be like, oh, damn, everyone's interested. Okay, I'm interested now too. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? I know you guys have questions. I know it. I know they're there.
What's your tips on getting the confidence to talk to the screen? Because I think that's a big hurdle for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't have tips for it. it is uncomfortable. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, do it. It's so easy. It is uncomfortable. I have been talking to my Instagram screen for 7 years. And even still, sometimes I get on and I am like, what is wrong with you? Why did you just say that? But then people are commenting and people loved it and they're like, oh my God, this is so funny, you know, or whatever else. And so I think just remember that you feel so much more uncomfortable than you look. And it's just one of those like ripping off the band-aid things. I think people can have a really strong social media presence without ever having to talk face to camera. But I also think that sometimes it's just a whole lot easier to get the message across if you just do it. The more you do it, the more comfortable it's going to be. But yeah, like just try it and don't overthink it. I think sometimes like we really, really try to polish these up. Remember again, your Instagram stories, quick, dirty, vulnerable. If your kid is screaming in the background, tell them to scream louder. Like people love that realness. Okay. But it's uncomfortable. So that is just one of those things that you just have to be like, I'm going to do it today. And then you do it. And it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And then you do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. That might have not been the advice that you were looking for, but it's true. It's uncomfortable. I get it. I do. What else, Jill? Fire them at me.
I'm out. I talk to you 10 times a day.
I know. One other thing that I just want to share, Chloe, you asked me this today, and I get asked this about 5 other times a day. How do you put the background on your photo? So how do you do like the dark overlay or the light overlay? I actually asked Jenny Wood, I think before either of us were doing Q, how to do this years ago because she was doing it. And I was like, that is amazing. So basically all it is you open up your Instagram, you throw your photo on like you normally would, and then the draw tool, you're going to click it like where you would like scribble on the screen. You're going to click that, choose the highlighter, choose your color, and just press down on your screen. And it's going to fill the screen with your color. And that's it. It's so easy, but I know aesthetically it is pleasing for sure. Mind blown.
One thing
Anything
that's
else?
helpful with reels, and it can be a little bit uncomfortable to start, but kind of piggybacking on what Brittany was saying about people want to see like real life things that they can relate to, is when you're like hanging out with your kids, cleaning up your kitchen, doing your workout, just prop up your camera and press record, whether it's like a time lapse or just record it. That is great content that you can use for reels, and you can put a quote or put a voiceover with it, and it makes for good content that people can actually relate to rather than the curated posts all the time. Meg Jackson's a good person to follow too. She's like the queen of Instagram stories.
She makes a good reel too. Anything else, guys? And I know that this just kind of scratched the surface. This was like totally just like beginner, just, you know, getting comfortable with social media. You know, what do I post? Where do I post it? Because it is a very overwhelming space. So we can get into more of like the nitty gritty, like, how do I do this? Or, you know, what would be like a good posting strategy, that kind of thing. A good call that I want you guys to listen to, as well as I know we've put it in our team chat, is Claudia Gonzalez team or monthly kickoff call. It's in the chat. A lot of the stuff they talked about in the beginning, you probably already heard at this point in the month, but they talk about social media posting, and basically in that call they give, and I have a copy of it, so I'm going to share it with you guys in the chat, but they basically give you like, what is it, like 20 days of posts, all different ways that you can post about this opportunity. Super, super valuable. I think one of the biggest things when it comes to posting is that we overthink it so much. And I know like we're all guilty for that. And, you know, obviously things can feel redundant. And so if you're drinking your greens every single day and you're posting your greens every single day, that's amazing. You're sharing the product, but it's how you're sharing the product that's important. If you're doing the same thing every day, it's going to be redundant. But if you switch it up, or, you know, switch up what you're saying about the product, or same with the business opportunity, you know, that's how you're going to kind of get away with talking about literally the same thing every single day. So really dig deep into your why when you're choosing what you're going to talk about that day, because there are so many different angles that you can kind of take this. And like I said before, different things are going to, you know, pique people's interest in different ways. So just keep that in mind. But if anyone ever has social media questions, or you're like, oh my God, I need to post today and I really just don't know what to post, just ask somebody. Just be like, do you have any inspo for today? And, you know, people will help you out. Like, we're all here to help each other, and we're all here to learn from each other too. You know, we are all in this together, honestly. And so, you know, don't be afraid to talk to your peeps and, you know, get help, honestly. Oh, mom says go out to your garden and take a picture of your flowers. Great background. Yeah, again, don't overthink it. But that's it. We are going to wrap this one up. This is definitely not the end of our, you know, social media trainings together. But that is the end of it for tonight, at least. So kind of take all of that. We recorded this so you can listen to it again, take notes and just digest it, and then, you know, really start incorporating it. But your next steps, if you don't have those bios set up on your Instagram page, that's step one. So, you know, definitely go and do that. All right. Have a good night, friends.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.